Oh, there we go. It looks like we're live.
And we're live. Yes.
Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. It is Jacqui Bowman here, and I am here with a few of our EXP agents from across Northeast Ohio. We have Lisa Cole from the east side of Cleveland. We have Brian Salem from the west side. And we have Kelsey Wozniak from the south side. So
cheers, everybody.
Yes.
We got it all covered.
We got protein shakes. We got all sorts of stuff going on here.
Extra shots of espresso in here.
Awesome.
Whatever it takes.
It's getting crazy.
Exactly. So if you ever want us to discuss a specific topic, please don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us and give us some suggestions. But today we are going to focus a little bit on mindset and time management and just things that are going on in this market. Because I mean, you know, who's not interested in what's going on right now? And I mean, I think it's just as hot, if not the same as it was 2 weeks ago when we were on. Do you guys see, first question is, do you guys see anything different going on in your market since we're all in different areas? And we'll go Lisa, Kelsey, and then Brian. Do you guys see anything different in the past 2 to 3 weeks? Any temperature change kind of thing?
I do. I mean, I think the seasonality is every year at this time, you know, kids are going back to school and people are, you know, preoccupied with that. So we do have, I feel like a little bit of a dip right now in action. That's at least what we're seeing, you know, with Labor Day and everything like that. So
cool. Kelsey, what are you seeing?
Biggest difference that I'm seeing in like Summit and Stark County is short appraisals that we're dealing with. And we're in that price point where, you know, there's not a lot of extra cash involved, you know, so 20% down buyers or cash buyers is not as easy to come by. So we're navigating that. And that's a conversation we're having a lot more with our sellers right now and with our buyers, you know, because at the end of the day, they're having to be so aggressive on the offer process that that's a big risk for them too. So
yeah, when people are offering $25,000 over list price on a 160, like there could be
the comps haven't caught up is what I'm seeing. So it's you can run the numbers based on what's happening, but at the end of the day, the appraiser can't use something that hasn't sold. So we're in that kind of back and forth, like they haven't caught up to what the market's actually doing. And I mean, I'm seeing it consistently at this point in time. I think I've had 6 in the past month and a half short appraisals between like $3,000 and $10,000 consistently. So,
yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, not awesome, but thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Brian,
work through it.
Right.
Change or even slightly shift at all or move in the past 3 weeks? Just temperature of West Side, your price point.
Yeah, West Side kind of being from Lakewood, right, to the Western Cuyahoga, Eastern Lorraine to like Avon, Ridgeville. I'd say the activity, I agree with Lisa, for us has got from super hot to a little lukewarm. But I feel now that schools have finally said this is what we're doing, how we're doing it. I think there was just other things going on in a lot of families that had kids as far as, you know, if they were making a move, that it seems now that that's been settled, it's back to, you know, 3 over the weekend, all the multiples way over, you know, asking. In the markets we're at, I think there's a lot more homes per sort of square miles. So I think, you know, the appraisers are still being okay. You know, we're not necessarily seeing that, but it's still, as of 2 weeks ago, I think, again, it was a little more lukewarm as far as buyer offer activity overall. But again, I think it's kind of the price point, because we do have things kind of in the 150 to 2 that flies off like an hour. Right. And then your 450 to 6, there's still a decent amount of inventory in that price range. Right.
And I think that's important for, if you're seeing this, it's that, you know, certain price points in the same area are much hotter than others. So like Brian said, you know, 150 to 250 is going to fly off the shelf. And if you're 300 to, you know, 400, it's going to be different than 400 to 600. So just keeping that in mind, you know, that different temperatures in different price ranges.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to move right into our questions. I'm going to go Brian, Kelsey, Lisa. So we're going to go backwards this time. So Brian, the first question is, when working in this hot market, everybody's busy, where is your mindset challenged the most? And then there's kind of a follow-up question with that. And how do you keep yourself in the game and not get off track from that? Like, what challenges you and how do you keep yourself in the game?
Well, the challenge is the winning mindset that you have to have. But I would say kind of what it really takes now, both in the market of what's going on and obviously the world of election stuff and COVID stuff, people are a little crazy right now. So first off is I think not taking things personally. And that's a very hard thing, I think, not only to learn, but just as human nature, you have emotions, and it's just how well can you sort of block through and get past that emotional side and make sure you represent your client at the highest level. So not taking things personally, whether it be from other agents, you get kind of, or a team member, and you're having a discussion, or obviously clients, not to take things personally. And I think that's always important, but super important right now. And I think the second in, learning this kind of early on, but it's always a challenge, is making sure you understand like this is a business, and you really need to make sure you understand and run it like a business. And when you can kind of and there's a lot, I think there's might be some follow-up questions later of, well, how do you sort of do that? And what do you, how do you sort of time block and plan? But I think it's the attitude of understanding you are running a business, but then also not taking things personally, I think are for sure right now, like the two biggest mindset challenges to understand and to help, push through.
Gotcha. Okay, perfect. Kelsey, what are your thoughts? What are you what challenges your mindset the most right now?
I think part of what Brian said resonates with me as well, as far as taking things personally, because that's, I would say, probably one of my weak points as a business owner, is getting so involved and so passionate about it that I do take it personally. And that's something that I've constantly tried to, almost grow out of in some ways over the past 5 years. But I think in this market, it's a lot harder because you're so entrenched in it. And it seems like it's so much harder for buyers. It's, so much more stressful for sellers, that you feel like you're part of the process with them more than what I feel like I felt in the past couple of years. And so I agree with that. And I think that, we talked about this for a second, but I think that also working with other agents who may not react to things the way that, we react to things. Like, I do get emotional in that sense of, protecting my clients, but at the same point in time too, I'm never responding to another co-broke like that, and honestly with my clients, I don't respond emotionally to them either, because I know my emotions is just going to, make theirs even more, at that point in time. But it's on my own side, I still feel it, and it's like, disconnecting from that. But I think working with other agents who are very stressful makes it a lot harder sometimes. And I feel like everyone right now is so stressed out. They're all burnout. They're all, just exhausted. And I feel like, I'm trying to always kind of keep that in mind. But, when we're dealing with short appraisals, that's stressful. When we're dealing with houses that are simultaneous closings and you have a short appraisal or whatever might be happening in any scenario, it's harder when you're working with someone who's not really trying to work with you. And I feel like that's a really big challenge right now, because it's been, at least on our end, I feel like it's been pretty crazy since Memorial Day. Like, it has not slowed down. It really hasn't let up. I would say maybe in the past week, at the very most, it let up a little bit. But I think that's also just because there was a huge rush getting into that part. But I would say that's one of the biggest challenges for me. And I see it with my agents on the team too. They're going through the same struggles and dealing with other people. And then also just their clients, we lost out on X amount of houses in multiple offers, just because they're not doing anything wrong. It's just, what their clients can offer and, what the circumstances are and everything. And it's just not letting that get to you, I think, is the hard thing. So
yeah, it is very frustrating. And
that's
like you said, I think everybody's exhausted. I mean, I feel like just since even April, people have just been it's been nonstop for real.
It's like people can't exhale.
Yeah. Right.
Take a breather. Yeah. And it's the time of year that I feel like realtors are really bad about not taking care of themselves, and taking the time for themselves. And I am just as bad about it. I've tried over the last few years. Every year I get a little better, but it's still stressful and it's still hard, But I would say, as far as what was the second part of that question?
It was just things that you do to keep yourself in that positive mindset and stay in the game and not go emotional. Any tactics, tips, tricks you can give to other agents that are like, I can't believe I just blew up on the phone with another agent. That's not who I am. Right. So yeah, how do you help yourself not make that phone call right away or stay in the game to where you're not losing it?
I coach my agents on this a lot, and I am also self-coaching myself on it a lot, which is don't respond. Don't respond right away. Let it sit. Sometimes issues will work themselves out when you just let it sit. And I think that not reacting to a problem or not reacting to someone when they are on, high emotional level like that, even sometimes it's like, do you need to make the call to that seller right this second as you just got the information? Or do you want to let it sit for maybe a couple of hours? Maybe the buyer comes back around and realizes they're being ridiculous or whatever the scenario might be. If nothing else, have a better headspace, when you have that conversation so that you're not, again, projecting what you think onto the clients. I think that's one of the biggest things that I do for myself. And I always tell the agents, like, just relax, just let it go. Don't say anything. And I feel like every time that you do that and you don't react to it right away, you always have a better response. And I feel like the outcome is always better. It may not be perfect, but it's always better. Right.
And I think a lot of times, whether you let the seller know or the buyer, whoever your client is, know in that moment, or you wait 4 or 5 hours after you've digested it, packaged it in a way that you can deliver it to your client better, it doesn't change the circumstance, right? The only thing that changes in that circumstance is how your buyer or seller is going to receive the message because you did a better job communicating. So
absolutely.
That's amazing. Yeah, great.
100%. That's a good one, Kelsey. I love that
Lisa,
one.
let's go. For you.
So for me,
like your biggest
oh my gosh.
challenge.
Well, I totally agree. Yeah, like I feel like I wrap myself in bubble wrap to be in this business because it's so stressful. So I made a list of all the things I do like on a regular basis, and it's a lot. So every day, I mean, these are things like, and here's the thing, when you have positive habits, like you're not going to take on all of these 20 things at once. Like I am a little crazy about self-care. It's like a vibe.
Maybe that'll rub off on me. Keep going.
What was that?
I said, maybe that'll rub off on me. Keep going.
Yeah. So, I mean, I find with like good habits, this is, the same with bad habits. Like one good habit leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. So it just snowballs. So, I mean, one thing that I do every morning is I meditate. So I do, Oprah and Deepak have a really good meditation that you can go on, and it's like 20 minutes and they walk you through. It's awesome. I journal every morning. Yoga, I do 3 to 4 times a week. I do visualization sometimes. I try to read like 10 minutes a day, like a book that's, business or inspirational or, soulful, that type of thing. Supplements, clean eating, hair and nails. You got to have the hair and nails done. Let's see, sleep is huge. So I make sure to get like 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. I'm not waking up early because I try to wake up early, but if I don't get my sleep, I'm not waking up early. So this is a big one. And I know a lot of people have a hard time with this, but I need it like every day. So if I'm watching TV or if I'm downstairs or something like that, I'll put my phone upstairs and I will like I don't even want it by me. So for a whole hour or 2 every night, it's not by me. I don't want to be checking my texts. I don't want to be, looking at my social media. I don't want to be looking at anything. I just want to unplug.
You do that every day?
So yes. Can you teach us how to do that?
Oh my gosh.
Just let the battery
So I just want to pause for a moment and just let other agents know that are watching this, because a lot of times coaching, that's what I get is that, well, the reason my clients want me and use me and called me to begin with is because I'm so responsive. So I can't just not answer my phone. And I'm like, well, actually, yeah, you can. And so what I want people to see is like, here are some top agents that can actually do that, which means you can too, right? And so it's hard. It's hard because if you've ever watched Simon Sinek, he has a thing about how we're addicted to our cell phones, and it provides dopamine to us when we respond and answer and respond and answer and respond and answer. And so it's an ego feed when we do that. And so you're actually detaching yourself from that love of solving, because as humans, we want to be problem solvers, and that's what we do as agents. And so this is a really big subject for a whole nother call. I love that you brought it up.
Oh my God, I could go on and on. Because I'm sorry, but I have a lot of clients who love us, but I never answer my phone. My phone is always on silent, and I'll check it. I mean, I get back to them quickly, but I don't want to hear it ringing all day long. It stresses me out. You know, I don't want to, and same with text messages. I don't see that notification on my phone. I'll check it, you know, I'll check when I'm done with this or whatever, and I get back to people quickly, but I need that. Like I have to insulate myself with that.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you have to spend time with friends and family. That's like so important, you know, take a day off, take 2 days off, hang out with your friends, go do what you love doing. No toxic people, none. Just get rid of them. If they are like, if you're with somebody and they make you feel bad, like this much, delete from your life. You don't need them. You don't need them. Sun. So that's a big thing for me. If I'm like making lunch and I'm like busy and I'm like slammed and everything like that, I'm like, I have 10 minutes to go sit outside in the sun. Let me just like leave my phone inside for 10 minutes, soak it up. It makes a huge difference. It's an energizer. I try to get out in nature, not as much as I want to, but I try to get out in nature. Massages. If I'm stressed out, I got a little stress, I'm going to go get myself a massage. It's like amazing. Detox. And tequila. Patron.
There you go. There you go. I love it. I love it. That's awesome.
But I mean, it's
That's
just,
awesome.
I was thinking about it. It's like, there is so much you have to do to take care of yourself. And again, It's not going to all start with this list, but it will snowball. If you just commit to like 1 or 2 things, it'll just lead to more.
Sure.
So, and then what you were saying, the second part of that is, what was the second part?
It was just, what do you do to keep yourself on track, you know,
Okay.
and not get sucked in when someone is, you know, because the biggest thing in this market is the agents on the other end a lot of times.
Right.
You know, sometimes on the other end for you, Lisa, it's Brian and he's going crazy and you got to calm him down. No, I'm kidding.
Well, this is what I've always told like Nick and any other agents that work with me is like sellers, buyers, like they are people that you love. These are your clients who you want to work with. In the middle of the transaction, this does not happen every time, but in the middle, they might morph into like green scaly creatures. They might grow some horns and some fangs. They might snap at you, but you just have to remember they're still those awesome people and they're just going through the most stressful time of their life. One of the most stressful times. So you just have to be patient and they morph back. They always morph back.
That's great.
That circles back to not take it personally. You know, and understand how to respond and when to respond, because you don't want it too soon, but you can't let it fester on either.
No avoiding. There's no avoiding.
You both brought up, you know, within a couple hours, which I totally agree with, but that happens almost in every deal with some party, you know, that they kind of they'll off track of who they are and stuff like that. And you just gotta
just give them a little grace.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So I loved all those answers. So next question is, you know, and this one we'll answer really quickly. So try to keep this one to 30 seconds, but I'm going to go Kelsey, Lisa, and then Brian. Why is it so important to stay in a good mindset and to not be reactive? Like, why is that so important to your business?
So I think for me, it's a spiral effect. Like it is a downward spiral. If you let it go and you let it get away from you, I think that it just gets worse and worse and worse. And at least that's for me. You know, it's one of those things where it's so much harder to snap back out of it when you don't have those behaviors to keep yourself in a good mindset. And at the end of the day, you aren't good for your family. You aren't good for your clients. You aren't good for your agents on your team. And you're definitely not good for yourself. And I think that when you have those kinds of stressors going on and you're not able to get yourself in the right mindset, I feel like it just spins out of control. And I mean, I've been there. I feel like a couple years ago was the first time, and so far the only time since then that it's really gotten that bad, was my first like burnout, I think, of experiencing, you know, being that busy for the first time and just some not so fantastic clients who were really eating away at me and just bad deals.
Could you try again?
My watch is talking to me. And I told myself, I was like, I'm never going to let this happen again, because to me, that's where you are not good as an agent. You're not good for anything. And it makes you want to get out of the business. And that's not obviously how we want to operate.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's everything to me to be able
You
to get
lose
that
yourself.
mindset. You really do. I mean, that's when I started yoga. She brought up yoga. That was the first time that I'd ever done it. And it was literally what saved me, was going to yoga 3 times or 4 times a week.
Therapy.
Like,
That's my therapy.
Right.
It is amazing. So
Lisa, why is it so important to stay in a good mindset?
I think because you will, if you're in a good mindset, you're going to see the opportunity in every situation instead of it the other way around, because it's so easy when you have, it's always problems that are coming up, but there's always an opportunity. There's always a way that you can work through it. And if you're in that positive mindset, you're going to work through it quickly. Your clients are going to get through it quickly, versus the other way around where it's just going to be just an upward battle.
You might not even see the opportunities to solve the problem because you're not in the right mindset. Right. I love it. Brian, why is it so important to stay in a good mindset?
So I think you got to realize, why would you want to live the other way? Why would you want to live in a world of negativity and being surrounded by bad people and always being down on yourself? And I love Kelsey's answer. Obviously, then you can't be who you are and be the best to everyone around you. I think then to, kind of specifically answering that is, I don't think enough, and it's more, with the clients, like there's not enough agents that take what they do seriously. Like, you are a licensed professional that you have to be at the top of everything and take it serious for your client's sake. Like, that's to me why keeping that, like what it's about for what you do, is, and to be able to represent them in the best possible way, you have to have that mindset. Otherwise, again, it's the representation that they're going to get and the experience that they're going to get. And again, only having done it probably several times in their, life, it's extremely important. And I don't think that enough agents take that sort of aspect in their role, seriously enough.
Right. And I think in the not only representing your clients, but when it comes to agents working with other agents, like, we can name a few agents that can't keep their cool. And then we can name plenty of agents that we're like, we love working with them, because even in the most stressful situations, we know that person can handle it. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
don't you want your clients and your, your fellow co-agents and your family? Don't you want to be that for them?
Right. So absolutely. Okay. So we're going to kind of switch gears here. That was awesome. So good. Stay in a great mindset. Those were some awesome tips. Here's another thing about this super busy market that I think a lot of agents forget about, or they put on the back burner. And so when it's super busy like this, how do you stay on top of your growth activities? Other people call it lead generation. I think that word has such a crazy meaning for everybody. So I would say growth activities. Like, how do you keep your activities moving your business forward, done and completed in a proactive manner, versus getting caught up in just being reactive to your clients and the current business that's on the table? So since I keep having Brian go last, I'm going to have him go first this time.
Sweet. Well, this could be a long answer, but I'll try to keep it.
Okay, we're going to set a timer. No, go ahead.
Keep it, we try to keep it short here.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I think with that kind of question, you almost have to just learn by sort of failing at it. And it's from lack of time management, lack of discipline, and like, oh shit, I don't have anything going on next month. And then you look back and you really have to understand what you did and didn't do. And I think that's the best way probably to learn with this is it is about, I think the book's Atomic Habits, which is phenomenal. It's the habits and what you do consistently every day. And I think that not only is a part mindset, but it's about just sort of being sort of focused and balanced in all areas of your life, that just, you got to do that consistently. And by not doing it, and then you kind of learn through that about almost like the pain of what that's going to cause, and that you just don't want to go back there. But then it's self-discovering what you need to do to form those habits on a daily basis to stay consistent. And then it just kind of, almost becomes like a routine.
So in order for you to stay on top of your proactive activities or your daily habits, it's something that you have prepared for. So it's not necessarily something you start during a busy period.
I think there's a lot of preparation and sort of failing to kind of really understand and get that. You can, obviously there's a lot of coaching on it. There's a lot of books on it, but all of that helps. But I think a lot of it is in the preparation, that if you're just trying to learn that now, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to sort of build up. So if you haven't done it, start now, sort of through this. But everyone has the same hours in the day. So, how are they producing at a much higher level with the same amount of things? And or the same amount of hours as everyone else. And a lot of it's just the discipline, in their time management of what they're doing each day, whether it's following up with, clients, following back with clients, circling through, your prospects and stuff like that.
Don't ever
and
give
having a plan. Most
Right.
agents don't have a consistent plan of habits each day, and you have to prepare, and you have to certainly, it's a build-up process for sure.
Yeah. And so the book that you mentioned was Atomic Habits. And I love that book. It's a great one. So just making sure that you have those activities that are pushing you forward. So,
but that's like the simple answer, because it still all goes back to why the hell are you even forming the habits? Like what's driving you to still want to get up and do the things consistently? And all of this, goes back to what we've talked, a lot about, which is just sort of your drive and passion and your why and stuff like that. Because you could form habits in anything in life, and some of them are smaller, some of them are on a much bigger scale, but it's the whole why. And I always say it's probably about 3 or 4 layers deep.
Sure.
That, again, you can probably get to that process quicker if you really take the time to understand that. But the simple answer of the habits is still understanding, well, why are you wanting to form those habits? Whether it be take care of yourself and, to prospecting to, running a team and stuff like that.
You hit it on the head though. Like once you experience the pain of the roller coaster of sales, you're like, I don't want to go in the downturn anymore. What do I need to do to keep this steady? Because it is painful. Sometimes you just have to feel it.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to learn with this.
Exactly.
Have fun while you're going through it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we'll go ahead and go with Lisa next. When it's super busy like this, how do you stay on top of your proactive growth activities and not just get sucked into being reactive to what's currently on the table?
I think what Brian said too was like the whole self-discovering of what works for you. So I know I'm a morning person. I love waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Okay.
And I do. I love, if I wake up at 5 a.m., I feel like I got gypped an hour. I'm like, oh, I got gypped, because I get so much done. I get so much done between 4 and 8 when like the day starts kicking in. So I get a lot of my admin stuff done, answering emails. Like that's when I feel most creative and everything like that. I do, my journaling then too. And then that way I get my posting done. I consider posting dollar productive. So I make sure to post on all of the platforms. I try to do it around 8 or 9. And then I'll definitely have time to prospect. I'll have that 2 hours if I get all of that other stuff done, because I'm ahead of the game and I'm being proactive versus reactive.
Perfect.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah. What time do you go to bed?
Well, I was gonna say, when you eat dinner at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to go to bed at 5?
What was that?
When you eat dinner in the afternoon to go to bed at 5?
I know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do go to bed by like around 8 o'clock a lot of nights. So I might be a little granny when it comes to that. But yes, I just love it.
That wasn't the question.
Okay.
Brian, I'm with you. I'd have to add in an extra meal.
Yeah. The question I have, so when I had the Icon interview, after hitting that after a couple months being here, the agent was out of Arizona, and we got talking about journaling, because I really started doing a lot more consistent with exercise, and the meditation's been always sort of an important thing the last couple of years, and especially with kind of what we've gone through this year. But he also did it, and I guess my question is, what can you take a minute just to sort of explain, like, how did you get into it? What is, like, when you say journaling in the morning, I mean, just like the thoughts like come, that you're thinking of to just get it out to sort of help clear that mind. Is that what that does?
This is the coolest thing. I bought it for my daughter and my sister.
Is it a digital one?
What was that?
Is it a digital one or a paper?
No, it's a book. It's called The Artist's Way. And it's actually, you could get the book and the journal. It's a set, and it's a 12-week program. And then you just continue doing it really for the rest of your life. But basically what it is you have every morning when you wake up, like first thing, pretty much, you do 3 pages of stream of conscious journaling. So it doesn't have to be legible. You're not supposed to ever go back and read it. You're not supposed to have anybody else read it. It could make 0 sense. It could be like, I want my coffee. oh, why are my shades crooked? It could be, you know, just like a dream that you had. And you just literally have to just write nonstop for 3 pages. You get all of the muck off of your brain that is on your brain that you don't even realize is there. And then you are just freed up to start your day. It's like, it's amazing. So I just got through the 12 weeks and I'm just continuing doing it.
What was it called?
It's called The Artist Way. If you go on Amazon, you could just order it. There's like it's just like a set with the journal, and there's a book that goes with it that you can read. Like there's an excerpt every week just to read, to kind of walk you through, and it coincides with what you're going through in that week and how things are really opening up for you. But it's like, it's amazing.
That's interesting, because usually I'll start my days on Sunday and then the nights before getting everything ready and getting all of that. But I just kind of almost, it's like I do it mentally, and then it's these are the 5 things for tomorrow, and I just write it down on my iPads when I go in. I've just never got into that, and I was curious.
Yeah, try it. Oh my God, I would love to hear okay.
Very cool. We verged off topic just a little bit. But I want to make sure I get to Kelsey real quick before we head out. We're at 30 minutes now. So Kelsey, when it's super busy like this, how do you stay on top of your growth activities? How do you keep up the hunt when you still have all this business on your plate now?
So for me, I agree with Brian and with Lisa. I feel like it's something that, at least for myself, it is a constant push to do that. I feel like there's definitely times when you fall off the wagon and you aren't as good about it, and you do get busy and you are not as great. And then all of a sudden you have to get yourself right back into it. I have not perfected that craft. That is something that I am continuously working towards. But for me, the things that I do that I feel like I don't always even give myself credit for, I am always looking at social media, like Lisa was saying, and different things like that. That's my checkout time. Like I almost look at those activities as a way for me to disconnect from the business a little bit and do things. It's almost like a self-care thing, but it's a self-care thing for my business. And I am at the point where I enjoy doing those things because it's my time to like take care of myself, my business, and it's not reacting or having to deal with other problems, that we're going through. So I think it's almost a mindset thing that we keep talking about around those activities, not looking at it like it's I have to do this still, but like, I get to do this. I finally get to sit down and do this. And I feel like that's kind of how I treat it at this point. And there's definitely times when, you can't, but like Brian said too, with what's your why? What's your reason? What are you creating these habits for? That's been a big thing for me this year specifically, that I feel like one of the reasons why I haven't perfected that craft this year is because our whole life is changing in so many different ways. I mean, we started the team this year. My husband came on board, coronavirus, baby, all these things are changing in our life. And we're really going back to the drawing board of like, what are we trying to create? What kind of life are we trying to create? Where is the meaning behind all of this? And I feel like, in the past 4 years, I've had, just build my business, but, as much as I can. But at this point in time, it's like, but for what? What's the reason? What are we really trying to create? Do I want to work 60, 80 hours a week for the rest of my life? Absolutely not. So how are these habits going to generate that kind of lifestyle that we're trying to create? So I feel like when you have that kind of mentality behind it, it makes it so much more of a priority, because you're able to almost manifest the business that you want and that you want to have in the future. So
I love it.
But
I think what all of you are saying with the knowing the why, I think a different way of saying that is having clarity on what your vision is for your personal life, having clarity on what your vision is for your business life. And Kelsey's business doesn't need to look like Brian's, and Brian's doesn't need to look like Lisa's. And that, and that's one of the things I love coaching on, is having the agent that I'm coaching create what they want it to look like. Because too many times they're like, oh, well, this has been done before and I'll just follow what they do. And then they're miserable because they don't get it. They don't understand it. And so I just really think whether you're lead generating or you're doing growth activities, that's just a different way of saying the same thing, but it's all individualized for who you are. And there's just not one way to do this business.
And leaning into the change when change is necessary. I think that was a really hard thing for me.
Yeah.
Is you have to reinvent and change some things if you want to get to that next level or get to that next lifestyle or whatever it might be. That's been.
Yeah. Like that was a great vision 18 months ago, but now that I'm here, that whole vision is now changed.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I think we can wrap up for today. I didn't get to our last question to see what those activities are and what activities you don't let go on the back burner, but we're going to save that for the next time we talk. So we can talk about those specific activities. So any closing remarks real quick, if we want to go around, Kelsey, Brian, and then Lisa. Oh, at least I put you last when you were ready to go.
I'm so used to being the middle child. It's kind of nice. So I would say that mindset, I was actually really excited for this topic for today because I feel like so much we get so, stuck on multiple offers and this and that, and it's all just like the business stuff. And I feel like this is something that really is so important in everyone's business that you really have to have a handle on it and do your best every day to really try to get better at it, because it makes a world of a difference for your whole life, like your life, not your business, for your life.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Brian, closing remarks.
I was going to say, Kelsey's got a big change coming here in 3 weeks. So I think you'll start to find out your why here in a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah.
So early
Right.
congratulations. No, I think closing remarks is just make sure you be you and be the best version. And Lisa said it earlier, once you can get that established, you've got to make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people, and plug into them and be genuine and care. And, you'll be able to go far, but be you first.
For sure.
Love it. Awesome.
Yeah. And
Awesome.
I would say,
Lisa, go ahead.
I would say it's easy for you to think that you don't have time to do these things to take care of yourself, but they are the most important things. You have to take care of you for the rest of your life to be amazing. So just start little and then just let it snowball. And then, everything will be better, I think.
All right. Awesome, guys. Well, that was an amazing 36 minutes. So
Time flies with you guys.
Yes. So we will see you all in a couple weeks, and we'll post it on social media. Thanks, everyone.
All right.
See ya.
Thanks.
See ya.